Osseo commission check. That doesn't work. Welcome to The Blueprint. I'm your host, Ken Jamaica.
And I'm Katie Martin, also co-host and TC.
And I'm Edmund, Realtor / team lead.
So that's Edmund Smith with J Castle Group. He is one of our agents. He's actually a brand new team lead. For 5 or 6 weeks in now? Does that sound about right?
Month and a half, 2 months. Yeah.
So all right. So six-ish weeks. How's that going for you?
It's good. I just kind of came up with an outline. I have speakers that come in, whether it's social media, open houses, basically to help them learn. I may have a flipper on there from time to time, but I generally try and get one a month or every 2 months if it's not Christmas. I have a designated book for them to read every month or every 2 months because I'm a slow reader. So just something to kind of get them to learn. And then we talk about, hey, let's find the solution. Like, what do you need to do? Are you a social media person? Are you an in-person person like me? Or, hey, do you sell Pokemon cards and are really good at getting the Pokemon market? Like I have a couple friends that are realtors that do that sell Pokemon cards and then also do real estate.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, nerds.
Anything you can do to bring in what you love into real estate is actually very beneficial, right? I've coached agents. I might even coach you with this. Find what you love and the business will follow, right? So we have an agent on our team that she loves gardening. And so one of the things she started was a Facebook gardening group and, talk about, homesteading and backyard gardens and yada, yada. And she's gotten some leads from it. So I don't know if she's closed any, but I know she's gotten a handful and she's pursued them a little bit. So what book are you reading right now, Eddie?
Right now, 48 Laws of Power. And then the next book is going to be $100 million leads because my team's been asking about finding leads. So I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozi, multi-millionaire, sold a company for $50 million. And he's a little bit more techie. So I'm hoping it helps me a little bit as well when it comes to reaching out to your SOI through email or the automated system with Lofty, or kind of if he's creative about it and has ideas to get more people hooked on.
So we were talking right before we started, you brought out a folder that I'm curious. Mm-hmm. You said, hey, look at this. And you open it. I'm like, nope, stop, pause, time out. Let's get online first. So what do we got?
Got it. So, my main source of business is through open houses. I'm a people person. I don't like cold calling and stuff like that. Mainly because I remember being cold called and yelling profanity at them. But as I'm doing these open houses, I've now done multi-million-dollar homes. This weekend, I'm doing a $3.3 million home. I've been in $4.5 million home. And I was like, I should probably look more professional when it comes to what I'm giving them. So I have this folder. It says welcome. Inside we'll have a flyer. We'll have a flyer. It'll have my business card right here, but it also has a bio about me, my reviews, and then the houses I've sold recently. And then if they need it, a house buyer's guide or a seller's guide, basically, for when you're trying to sell a home. And then obviously it'll have the flyer of the house in there. But I think it looks a little bit more professional when you're dealing with higher end people, where everything has to be perfect. I've noticed because there are some people that won't buy a home if the lamps aren't right, and they want everything to be turnkey and move-in ready, where there are some that are like, yeah, I'm willing to spend $150,000 on everything. But I'd say it's about 50-50, where with the lower end homes or the not as luxury homes, they're very what's the way to put this? They're okay with putting in the elbow grease.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I've noticed doing open houses for the $500,000 houses and below versus the multi-million dollar ones. And as it gets higher, it gets harder. Um, Trying to find a relatability because they're just a lot of them are higher end business people, tech companies, things like that, and you got to come to impress. It's a little bit more about the business end than with the other homes. It's like, hey, are you a good person?
Mm.
Like, can I trust you? Where they're like, are you going to get, where the higher end ones are you going to get this done for me?
Yeah, there was an adage I saw that I think is remarkably accurate. When you have a $500 EMD or $1,000 EMD, you get the phone call from Uncle Joe. Who's like, "Hey, we're trusting you with this money. This is a big deal for us.
Mhm.
Yada yada. We're gonna send it in, but we got to make sure you don't screw us on this." And when it's a $50,000 EMD, you get a text that says wire sent, right? And I
Mhm.
think that right,
Mhm.
it's just a different mentality, right? It's people that have been there and have done that and have the experience of doing
Mhm.
things at some kind of scale versus folks that don't. And both have their place in the market, right? And both are great clients. It's you're right. It's a different world between the sub 500 and the 1 million plus.
I mean,
Mhm.
if I'm
And
buying a Lamborghini, I don't want anything wrong with it, right?
yeah,
But if I'm buying
100%.
an old Ford
yeah,
Bronco, I'm okay with a
yeah.
couple wear and tear moments there. Yeah.
The other thing that I think is really good about doing those multi-million dollar homes is it gives you a chance to meet people you want to learn from.
Mm.
So it's not uncommon for me to be like, "Oh, you do this? Let me take you out to lunch or dinner. I want to pick your brain, learn a little bit from you." For instance, I've met the owners of the house that I'm doing next weekend. He's a lawyer slash attorney slash, sorry, a lawyer slash realtor. And so is his wife. And he has a nice house. I want a nice house. L- Let me pick your brain for a bit. Like I'm gonna ask him, like, hey, I've already been in your home. Can we talk inside your home or can we go out to dinner? I just want to learn and see if there's something I'm missing because I'm finding that the formula for business, whether it's running a restaurant, being a realtor, being an entrepreneur, the formula seems to be the same, but there's just different little things that each section has to do.
I agree with that. Actually, I think. I mean, if you can run one business, you can run any, because it's the tactical stuff that changes, not the overarching theory of business running, right? So, if you
Mhm.
know how to make the money, you can make the money doing anything.
Yeah, like I talked to my in-laws, who owns his own dentist practice, and was talking to him about networking, and he kind of had he's like, hey, it takes about 3 years, so 3 to 6 years to build a business, depending on what you're doing. And then I asked him, okay, well, what groups are you a part of? And he named off 6 groups, like whether it was Freemasons, Rotary, and he just named off all these groups he was a part of. And he's like, yeah, you should probably be a part of 6 or 7 instead of one. Then I was like, makes sense. That computes.
Yeah, I struggle with that advice. I'm part of clearly I'm rotaried up today, I guess. I didn't even notice that until I saw myself in my camera.
Mhm.
But I'm a major player in Rotary, but through Rotary I get exposure to Kiwanis and Host Lions and EIIO,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know that I would join multiple service organizations, but I do think multiple BNIs, business networking groups, would be beneficial,
Mhm.
and multiple chambers even, right?
Mhm.
So Jay Castle belongs to the Roseville Chamber. I've
Mhm.
worked with the Rockland Chamber, but so multiple chambers I could see being of benefit. But service organizations, I would struggle with that.
But couldn't you argue that you could times that by 6 if you were a part of other groups?
I know I do. I disagree with that completely because your attention is split. So
Valid.
if I'm giving 100% of my time to Rotary, I'm getting 100% of my return from Rotary. If I'm giving 25% to Rotary and then 25% to Freemasons and Kiwanis and Lions, no one's getting the full me, and I'm not putting my best foot forward there.
Okay. That I can see that where it's like, hey, you're gonna miss a couple meetings, and the main thing is just being seen and being in front of people,
Right. Well,
whether that's social media or in person.
and if you do it right, like with our Rotary Club, we partner like with the Host Lions fireworks booth, right? I co-run a fireworks booth with the Roseville Host Lions, and I've gotten 2 clients that are Lions from that fireworks booth, right? I track my numbers, and we've talked about this in the past, but I track my numbers, where a deal came from, how much I made, what it cost me, what, was it a paid lead? Was it a referral? Was it a friend? Whatever. And I can track probably 30% of my business back to Rotary in some form or fashion, whether it was a direct referral, a direct Rotarian, or a follow-on deal. I have Rotarians that have done 3 or 4 deals with me already, right? So individually. So I wouldn't know those people if it wasn't for Rotary. So I strongly agree with that advice.
Yeah, that's a good percentage. I'm not gonna say you entirely swayed me, but it's worth looking at.
You guys also have different timelines in how you've been in this business too. I mean, comparatively, Eddie, you're much newer than Ken has. He's got a host of time behind him. And so he's been able to, I'm sure, dial that down a little bit of what works best for him. And I think perhaps when you are new, it is good to put yourself out there in different clubs and see what is more of a fit for you.
100%.
So I don't think either path is wrong. I think the point is that you're putting effort into something towards the goal you want.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Everyone has to find their way. I know some brilliant people that are cold calling or emailing all the time, and that's how they get their business. I do okay with that, but I want to meet the individual in person. Like that's more of a I do better in person than emailing and text because things can get lost in textlation.
100%. I am the same way. I do not cold call. I refuse to. I will not door knock. I refuse to. If I was going to starve to death, maybe I'd try it once, but I don't do it. I'm a warm handoff guy. I like the, hey, Mike wants you to call him. Here's his number. Or, hey, I gave Mike your number. He's going to call you. Right? Like, I like those because then when we're on the phone, we know why we're on the phone. Right? We know why we're having this conversation, not because some rando gigantic dude knocked on your door at 2 p.m. Like no one likes that. If someone knocked on my door right now to try to sell me realtor stuff or solar or pest service, that's who knocks on my door all the time. Are those people? You're right, Eddie. You go out there with profanity. You're like, dude, I'm in the middle of shooting a podcast. Why are you banging on my door? Like, what the absolute? And now I'm mad. Whatever you're selling is not getting bought here. Even if I need it, I'm not buying it from you, right? So I just think that some people can pull it off, though. I'm just not one.
Yeah, and then there's a sense of adaptability because there was door-to-door salesmen all the time back in the day. If we were to go back 30, 40 years. And then, and I think it's kind of showing, and I find with millennials, Gen Z, it's more about who are you as a person? Do we connect? Where before it was, hey, we're going to keep doing these numbers. Someone will trust us, or someone will be like, okay, you can get the job done. And it seemed more of a business transaction than a friendship / business transaction.
Yeah, I think that the friends and business thing is reasonably new on a lot of levels. I mean, there's always been, handshake buddies, right? But I think the being friends with every one of your clients is new in the last 20 years.
Yeah. I'd say probably 50% of my business, like right now I'm showing houses to one of my best childhood friends. And then the other person was a friend from high school / my barber. And so,
God, I'm sorry. I have got a new kitten here that's absolutely psychotic. So I apologize if you're seeing me like bat stuff off the screen. He is literally just trying to jump on my computer screen.
No worries. But
so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. But yeah, that was pretty much it. It was just I think there's a level of trust because I think there's a lot of lacking of trust within other individuals that's happened semi-recently within the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Are there pretty big differences for you between the clients you have that are childhood friends or what have you, and then the clients who you've just met? I mean, how big of a challenge is that to kind of adapt to those two things?
Um, the friends, there's an unbelievable amount of trust.
Hmm.
And so if I say, "Hey, this is the better option," they listen. Where the other ones will be like, "You sure? I don't know." And then you're like, "Okay, well, here's the math. The math is mathing." Um, and you got to kind of write stuff out for them. With friends, I can just tell them, and they're like, "Okay, if that's what you think is better, we'll go with your idea, or your solution." And I think that's been one of the main differences is I have to explain less with friends because they're just like, Eddie's got the wheel. Like I'm just the passenger and I'm letting him take control of the situation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that scary or is that pretty great?
Um, it is because I'm a millennial, and if we're to look back at, for instance, boomers and things like that, um, we're you'll notice the millennials are hurting compared to the boomers. Like I read a thing from my grandpa and was reading about his childhood because I had a bunch of questions on a book that I gave him for Christmas last year. Filled it out, gave it to me. So that way, whenever it's his time, I can look at that and kind of get to know him better. And that was something that really, there's noticeable differences when I'm reading it about everything was easy, everything was calm, everything was this, where I talk to all my friends like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks.
Hmm.
What the heck is this? And I don't think it's an unappreciation. I think it's just we have to work so much harder to get the same thing that they had when it comes to being able to afford food, housing, because you can look at the statistics. It's drastically different.
Right.
Yeah. So, but going back to your question is, yeah, it's scary with the millennials, and I work hard for every client, but my hair's falling out more when I work with friends
That
100%.
makes
because
sense. Yeah.
I'm more scared for them because I don't ever want to lose that friendship. The money can shove it. Like I'm more about my friends than the actual money itself.
Totally.
There's a statistic that I don't know off the top of my head, but it's the percentage of clients that become friends versus friends that become clients. And you're more likely to become friends with a client than you are to have a friend to become a client.
That makes
I'd,
sense. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch a video or something or on the reasoning behind that, like psychologically. That'd be fascinating for me.
So, I mean, just from a high level, my opinion there is, sometimes you don't want your childhood friend to see your open kimono, right? When my friends don't know my credit score. you know, you don't know what I make. I mean, that kind of stuff. So, and you're like, well, because my credit's a 1 and I make $9 a week, then, I can only afford a house that's $17. Sometimes that's embarrassing, and wherever the number is, I could not want you to know I make $1 million a day, right? You don't need to know what I make. You don't need to know
Yeah.
what I want a house that's this. I'm qualified for it. Next question, right?
That's fascinating because well, this might be an outlier, but with all my friends, I know all their banking information basically, not like, oh, I know their accounts, but I know what's in them. And I know where I feel like my age group is more open with how much they make. Um, and I think the main thing, like for instance, back when I used to work retail, I was at a company for longer and someone else was making more than me because they were at another store, but I was working between both stores and they're always asking me questions, trying to have me help them sell stuff. And I'm like, why? Don't get me wrong, it's salary plus commission, but I was like, why is he making more than me if he's less experienced just because he works at the bigger store, but even though my numbers are better? And I feel like that is something the millennials are good at is talking with one another, finding out, and then going to complain to the boss and be like, hey, this is my value. Where before it was shut up, don't talk about it, it's rude. But I would argue that was a standard put in place to not have people ask questions and be happy with what they got.
I agree on all fronts. And I can say that as an employer, it was annoying as hell when people talked about it. Not because sometimes people get increases for a variety of reasons, right? It has nothing to do with how good you are, how bad you are. It could be that, it could be tenure. It could be, they got a spiff because, like here, there's recruiting bonus, right? If you bring me a good employee that lasts for 6 months, you get a 50-cent raise. I made all that up, right? But I mean, there are things that happen like that, and having to, not that the employer is necessarily doing anything wrong, and I'm not defending any employer because there are shady ass employers, but there are reasons that are not necessarily ones we want to talk about why they make more money, right? So, but to your point, one, it is completely legal, which many employers lie and say that's illegal to talk about that. It's not. But it is, as an employer, it can be frustrating, right? When I have to justify why Jimmy makes more than Sally or Sally makes more than Jimmy, for doing the same job.
And the solution to that too is the structure, because I've seen it with Kat's work, and she's a structural engineer. It's my fiance, for those of you listening. But every year they get a pay bump based on inflation, but also too, hey, if you move up in the company, then you get a pay bump, and then it continues to go up year by year based off inflation or whatever's going on at the time. But there's a structure, like everyone will make a certain amount by year 2, year 3. So everyone's on the even playing field. There's no real exceptions, or at least there's very few exceptions based off what's going on. So like if you're a first year and a second year, all the second years at that company are going to make more than the first year.
Sure.
Right.
So, and I think that's a even way of doing it. Now, is everyone worth that? No, but I mean, it's an even playing field and the employers don't have to deal with it. So,
yeah, I could go on this for hours because I have some very solid feelings, and it relates back to decisions made in the 1800s, literally, why we do things the way we do, with salaries and corporate stuff. And I'm watching.
Let's switch it up. Let's go back to real estate.
Let's go back to real estate. Yeah, because I could rabbit hole this for an hour. So talk about your team. We talked about kind of your growth there. Let's talk about your worst client without naming names or property addresses. Let's talk about the worst client you've had.
I don't know if I want that out there, Ken.
Okay, we can skip that question.
I don't want that out there.
Okay,
it's just out of respect for them. They're good people, just not the best situation. Is my screen blurry?
Yeah, you leaned into your camera and then you blurred. You refocused. All right, Katie, you got the list of questions. What are we doing?
Yeah. What does a typical day look like for you lately?
So recently, this blur is really annoying me.
He's too pretty for blur.
Yeah, dude. Come on, fix yourself.
Maybe lean in close and then lean back out.
There we go. Now you're clear.
There we go. So
no technology.
Well, we're in the holiday season, so it's much slower. But the usual day, like during busy season, it was get open houses, reach out to them through email, text, or phone number, see if there's anything there. Oh, people I meet at the open house. And then just putting myself in front of buyers or sellers, that's the main thing. And that's kind of been a focus for this year, is because I have connections in real estate for quite a bit of things, when it comes to business, like HVAC guy, other stuff like that. But I was like, I need to be in front of more buyers, and I need to figure out the better age group for right now, and kind of put my focus on that. But then it's creating stuff for the team. I have a list of podcast books that I'm making, because at the end of the day, I want all of them to be successful. I want everyone at the brokerage to be successful. but I also look at the team as my kids, um, and I don't want to let them down. So and that's one of those things where I want I want them calling me every day like I did with Ken. I want them trying to come over, or me traveling to them, like, because I really admire that drive. And Ken had a joke that I used to live at his house because I was there every day for about 6 months, and then it went down from 7 days a week to six. Um,
I think we're at 3
and
right now, but yeah, we're getting there.
yeah, I haven't.
No,
We'll say the holidays. Yeah,
holidays. Yeah.
but
Outside of
yeah,
that,
yeah. But there there's value in that. And the thing I am struggling though with team aspect is you can't teach drive, and that's what was told to me growing up with sports. Um, and so a good portion of my time right now, like I'm showing houses on the weekends or during the week, whenever, because I have one client right now. The other one we're trying to figure out his info, like his banking info. Is his parents going to help sign, like be on the loan? Just interesting situations that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But right now, the main focus is learning more and helping them more. Because I think one of the coolest things was after I became a team lead, I started working even harder. That first week, I was up till 4 a.m. doing stuff. And don't get me wrong, my wake up time sucks. But I would go to the gym, come home. I would read a chapter of the book that I assigned because I need to know it as well so I can question them. But also, too, um, there has to be some value in it. Tons of people read books. There has to be some value in those books somewhere, or taking a little blurb from it as long as it was worth it. Um, yeah, but don't be reading Harry Potter and thinking you're going to be better at business. But like books centered
ASIO
around
commission
mental.
check. That doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, doesn't work. Um, but trying to just learn from other people that have done it. And I think that's the main thing is I'm trying to teach them as well. Don't come up with the perfect plan. There isn't one. You're going to have to fail to succeed. You're going to have to try something, fail at it, try something else. And it's not linear. It's a zigzag, or it's a tree. Basically, there's branches that veer off, and your path is not going to be the same as the other's path. Um, your struggles aren't going to be the same as the other person's struggles. I have a fiance, I have no kids. Someone with kids, that takes up a big amount of time. So they have to figure out another way to get business, whether it's like, okay, on the weekend. And understanding that, teaching them along with everyone understanding there takes sacrifice. The first year when I joined J Castle Group, I told Kat, I was like, hey, I'm trying to make a better life for all of us. You're not going to see me this first year. And I was right, because I did 5 open houses, 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And I would come home, be exhausted from socialization, take a nap, and then reach out the next day. So, and she worked a regular 9 to 5. So that portion of when I would see her was about between 7 and 10 p.m. And there were days where I did work 16 hours. And I told her, like, hey, you may not understand it. Other people don't understand it. Um, but just know it's the right path. Because you can't have others that have never done it before tell you what you should do. And there's going to be a lot of comments from people, you should do this, you should try this. You haven't done it before. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes. You don't see the anger, you don't see the stressful moments, they just don't see it. And you can't relate to it unless you've been through it and been through that struggle. So I think it's one of those things where it takes sacrifice. There's trade-offs with everything in life.
For sure.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was it worth it? Was that first year of grinding and doing, 30 open houses a month? Like, what was that? Did it pay off?
Yeah, so I ended up getting multiple transactions, which was good. And I have one previous client that currently feeds me a huge portion of my business. He's the right age where they have families and they're switching to get bigger houses. And his parents live in a retirement community. He literally tried to get me to have a transaction 2 houses down. Um, and I've been staying in front of that individual, but it's also hard with no email or cell phone. So I call the house phone. Um, so, but because now I'm getting referral business, and I really like that. And it was worth it, because it kind of makes you mentally tougher. And when you have the next uphill battle, um, it's it prepared you. You know you're going to get through it, but it doesn't take away that it's stressful. But you're just like, all right, let's get this done.
Embrace the
Um,
suck, as the Marines say.
yeah. Um, David Goggins says that all the time. Um,
Lean into the discomfort. That's what Brene Brown says.
Yeah.
yeah.
Embrace the suck is one of those you're gonna do it anyway. You might as well embrace it, right? So
Yeah. And but yeah, it's just I would say it's worth it because now I've been having referral business, stuff like that. But also too, you have to constantly adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I had a lot of things going on where I couldn't really emphasize social media. This year I plan on doing more social media stuff on top of open houses every weekend like I've been doing. Not to the extent of 5. I can now enjoy time with the fiance along with have time to plan a wedding, which truly grateful for. I'm glad I can afford a wedding now.
also that.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so um, woman deserves the world. So she stuck with me when I had nothing, and now it's cool that I get to pay back the favor a little bit.
So it's interesting. You mentioned paying for a wedding. I coach people that are of marriage age, right?
Mm,
That you should buy a house before you pay for a wedding, right?
but
If you're going to spend
yeah,
$40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 on a wedding, that's a pretty sizable down payment. Get a house first, and you did more than that, right? You didn't get a house; you bought a duplex.
yeah. So I live in one side of it. I rent out the other. We're working on getting another property here soon, but that one's going to be more of a house, and then rent out some rooms to very, very close friends. That's at least the plan. Or if there's any family members that need help for whatever reason, they can stay with us as well. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what it is. I just really want to help individuals and make their lives easier, even though it makes my life harder.
I know that life.
But it's funny because in college, I had a catchphrase apparently, because I would do stuff for people and help them out, whether it was driving them back from the bars at 3 a.m., wake up at 3 a.m., get a phone call. I'm like, hey, can you get us? You still don't drink? Yes, I still don't drink, and which is crazy in college. Um, but um, and my saying was, it's just the right thing to do. Uh, Someone will say thank you. I'm like, it's just the right thing to do because in my mind, it's what we're supposed to do as people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now don't be taken advantage of, but do what's right. Um, and I think that builds a level of trust. If we were to relate that back to real estate, it's just in general, like just doing the right thing because I won't trade my morals for business. It's just something I won't allow. But we also run into that quite a bit in real estate, and
Gonna,
it's unfortunate and scary because you're looking at this buyer and you're just like, you have no clue.
mm-hmm.
You have no clue what
Mm-hmm.
he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's supposed to be your shield.
Yeah.
No, you were gonna say something, Katie?
I was gonna say you're never wrong to do the right thing.
Accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think of an example.
Yeah. But I
But-
see that too. It's just I see these emails come through and thinking, what are you doing? You know,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
very eye opening being behind the scenes a lot of times with things.
Yeah. I mean, I've told people before, I'm like, you should not buy a house. Like, I can remember early on, someone wanted to buy a manufactured home. And I was like, all right, cool, let's go out I'll take you out to dinner. They're like, let's talk about your situation. Met them at an open house. Uh, Boyfriend, girlfriend with a newborn baby. Husband had a job, or boyfriend, whatever he was. But I come to find out he's making barely above minimum wage, which is okay for manufactured. But then talk to them and, okay, what's your savings looking like? We have $500. Okay,
You're not buying a house.
Yeah.
how are you going to afford closing costs? And I told him, I was like, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. It doesn't do me any good taking food out of your kid's mouth. Because I was like, this is a situation that could really hurt you, especially with manufactured homes and space rent, and things like that. And it was at a time when the interest rates were 8% or close to 8%. And houses price, like manufactured housing, was inflated as well. It still is a little bit, but I was like, there's no way. I'm doing the math in my head. I was like, okay, food, groceries, diapers, etc., insurance. I was like, you make less than the mortgage payment. Like, no, keep living at mom and dad's. Save up the money to make things easier for you and your kids. Like, and I had to have that tough conversation because it's one of those things where they wanted it. That's cool, but it would put them in a much worse position. But yeah.
I mean, that's hard. But then you look at some people who have. So I struggle with manufactured homes, right? My very first listing was a manufactured home, and I thought they were the greatest thing on earth until I figured out how you have to buy them, and it's terrible. Because with the high interest rates on manufactured homes, and if mortgage rates are making up a number, let's just say 6%, then manufactured rates are between 12 and 15, right? It's not the same. And then on top of that, you do have space rent, and the space rent is uncontrolled, right? So it could go up 5 or 10% every year, whereas a normal 30-year fixed mortgage does not. You get your payment today, that's your payment for the next 30 years, unless you change it, right? It's not much different than renting. And for most people, that high interest rate and the variable space rent is often more than a mortgage on a stick-built house.
Yeah, and I even what I found, because I have been doing, I've had 2-3 situations this year with manufactured homes with friends and referrals and stuff, and I've been really trying to convince them to go the condo route because I found the payment is literally about $50 to $100 difference. And also too, I'm like, hey, the condo, the HOA covers some things. You don't have to worry about a roof. That's on them. And stuff like that. But I felt like I did it a month ago. I was like, what? Why would you buy a manufactured home when the condo's better? And they're like, well, we didn't get approved for that much. And I was like, there are condos in that range. They're not going to be great, but it's a much safer investment for you and your family slash when let's say you do pay it off, you're not paying $1,000. In this case, it was $1,100 in space rent every month, and it makes it harder to save. Where the HOA is anywhere from $200 to $500 with some of those condos, and I was like, it's a no-brainer in my opinion because the mortgage payment's the same, but at least the money is going towards something you own, and it's not just floating away.
That's true. Yeah, like I said, I struggle with manufactured homes. Sometimes it's the best option for people, but I think rarely. unless there's some social thing driving it, right? Some people, I have a friend who, bazillionaire, has enough money they don't have to worry about nothing, right? But they live in a manufactured home in a 55 and older community, and they love it. And I asked them, like, why? And the answer was, because my wife likes it. She likes the community. She likes people here. You know, we don't have to live here. We can live anywhere, but she likes it. And as long as she likes it and she can be in the neighbor's business, she's not in my business. So I get some peace and reprieve, and she gets to be a social butterfly, and go me. I was like, quality of life, right? I'm not going to knock anybody's quality of life there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Eddie, what do you think is the worst advice you've ever heard someone say to another realtor?
Ooh. That's a great question.
I'm sure there's quite a few things running through your mind right now.
That's a great question.
What's the worst of the worst?
Or the best, either one.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I had an old mentor before I joined J Castle Group. And keep in mind, no one in my family's done this business. I'm the first one. No one's ever owned a business. They're all 9-to-5s, regular stuff like that, which is fine. Was able to provide for me and my brother / my grandparents were able to provide very well for my parents and stuff like that. But I'd say like the lack of advice or the lack of information. And for instance, hey, you should do open houses. Okay, why? Because you should. Or, hey, you should go to open houses. Why? Just to look in them and see.
Just to see.
And like, he's like, I want you to write a paper for me.
So you know what a house looks like.
On what you learned. And he didn't tell me what I was looking for. I wrote him a paper just because he told me to do it. He was technically my mentor. And he didn't even read it. And it was like, there was no teaching, there was no learning. And I was just like, if this idiot can get business, I can too. Because I can remember being so pissed I was on the verge of tears because I'm like, I'm actively trying to learn. I want to learn. I have the drive. I want to do the things to make things happen. And just why should I do this? Just go do it. Why? Can you tell me how or what I need to know so I can progress as a realtor / business owner / whatever? He's like, yeah, you just go and it'll happen. And it's like, do I need to talk to him a certain way? Yeah. Do I need to talk to him a certain way? Do I need to be aware of this, this, and this? Like for instance, if I'm doing an open house, what should I know about the house? Everything. Okay, what are the main questions? There's tons. Okay.
Super helpful.
You should, instead of you should know about the roof, you should know about how old the HVAC is. Knowing the appliances is a plus. Any liens, what was it? Home insurance, what's that looking like per month? Did you get a quote previously or did someone else? Are there inspections? Instead of going in, hey, are there inspections? I don't know. I was just told to be here.
Yeah.
Like, so it's one of those things where it's just like.
That's how my open houses go. Even my own listings. Hey, I have no idea. I'd have to go look it up.
Yeah. And which you could get around it by having a computer, but having to look for it on your computer in front of people, like it takes away this guy's as sharp as a tack person. He knows what's going on. He's on top of his stuff. And, that's one of the things, like when I talk to you doing open houses for you, Ken, is like, I was like, hey, I want to know, I'll ask you questions and I'm like, I want to know what the appliances are. Like, are they this company? Are they this company? What does it do? And then like knowing like, okay, And given there's quite a bit in the MLS, but it's the little things that you don't put in the MLS that really kind of like, oh, this he's paying attention.
Yeah.
Like yeah. That I kind of want to know. Like, um, and then for instance, too, like if you know the neighbors, talk to them about events in the area or look up what events are going on in the area in general. Like, for instance, El Dorado Hills has the Cars and Coffee, and basically it's an early morning thing, early morning car show over in
Town
the
center.
Palladio. Yeah, town
Town
center.
center.
And but it's just stuff like that where it's like, hey, oh, you notice the hot rod shirt. You should check out Cars and Coffee on Tuesdays at this time, between this time. And knowing stuff like that as well, making it more kind of helping them narrow down like their search. Like, hey, I really like cars. They do the Cars to Coffee. There's another car thing that's close by. You know, it's one of my very loved hobbies. I'd like to be probably closer to El Dorado Hills. I could live in Folsom. That's pretty close too. But Sacramento's out the window now because I don't want to drive half an hour to get to this. Now there's stuff going on in Sacramento too. Now, if I know that, then cool. Maybe it opens up making a decision. But like just knowing the little things, I think is really good to impress people and kind of get them more towards using you as a agent.
So we talked to another one of our guests a little bit ago, and she said something similar. But and the question I asked her is, she talked about specialization, right? Knowing exactly what you're talking about, knowing every little thing about a neighborhood, and being able to speak to that. Now, how big is your service area, right? Because it is unlikely that you're going to know all those little details about El Dorado Hills and about Elk Grove and about Rockland and about fill in the blank, right? I mean, those are very disparate. I mean, those are 40-minute drives between those areas. So how are you maintaining your knowledge base in multiple regions? Regions is probably a fair word for those.
I talk to the realtor or the homeowner. And this is where like the open houses kind of help me with that is I've done open houses all the way in Natomas. I've done ones all the way in Placerville. Like if there's an open house and I see an opportunity, I want to be there. Now, don't get me wrong, when I first go there, I don't know anything. But when I leave and talk to some of the locals or the people trying to move there or the homeowner or the realtor, um, or even just look it up on the computer, go on Facebook, look at the groups, um, it's easier to kind of look like the professional of that area, even though you don't live there, you aren't from there. But over time, you kind of gather this knowledge of the area. And if you're everywhere, like I am for right now, don't get me wrong, I would love a neighborhood with constant business. But I'm kind of all over the place. I've been in Sac, I've been in El Dorado Hills, Rockland, right now, Rockland, Roseville, Lincoln, which is kind of in the center of those two. Um, but I think it comes down to just paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
um, and realizing, hey, I need to pay attention on some of those things. Um, but I think the having the immense amount of open houses, you kind of start picking things up. It's not going to happen the first year, but the second year, then it's like, okay, like, you know what's going on in the area. Like, you don't even have to look up the HOA, you know the HOA.
So what I heard there is education, right? You've talked about education in some form or fashion in every answer you've given, across every question we've asked, right? And that one is literally educate yourself on the area. If you know you're going to do an open house in an area that you haven't been in before, spend 30 minutes, run through Facebook groups, look and see what's out there. Go do you door knock and talk to neighbors, or you just go hope you find one, or what's your deal with the neighbors?
Oh, I mean, if you have a house like the first day it's on the first open house, every neighbor's going to come in and talk to you, along with, I've had ones where I found out which neighborhoods have a lot of drama. And they're talking crap about the other neighbors, and it's like, okay, some of this information is useful, but a lot of this is useless. I don't need to know about Marge is flirting with Sally's husband a lot, and it's getting kind of questionable.
I don't know,
I've
man.
had that.
Real Housewives of Neighborhood kind of sounds like a good show.
No, I'm good. I watching some of those real estate shows. I don't want that drama. It's just it looks bad. If anything, I think those shows that are dramatic could probably hurt their business because they're like, this person's a snake. Why would I want to work with a snake? Like,
And yet,
Here we are.
And yet they have business. Figure
yeah,
that
but
out.
who's watching the show? If they're not watching the show and they're like, oh yeah, I'm on a show, versus someone who watches the show and is like, oh, I'm staying away from that girl. She's got problems.
People get pretty enamored with people they see on TV.
That's true.
And
that's why I'm not on
the,
TV. I'm so pretty. If I was on TV, I couldn't walk outside.
You'd never stop getting clients every day of your life.
But I also find that sad because every person to me is a similar person. Like I've met some famous people. I went to high school with some famous people, and I'm so happy for a lot of them. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I've seen you when you were normal, or quote unquote normal. You're still normal, but just you have an amazing talent for baseball or acting or whatever. And it's one of those things where it's like, I look at it as, oh, cool, I can do this too. Maybe not in baseball, maybe not in acting, but maybe in real estate, maybe in whatever other venture I want to go on. Because I kind of saw some of them at the beginning, and it's just like they were pretty normal. They were in the bullpen a lot more, or hey, they were in drama class, and then they also did every single acting thing, and somehow learned how to sing and carry a tune, because I remember hearing them singing like, that's god awful. But now I see them singing on Instagram or something. Now there's auto tune, but I'm like, oh, they're pretty good. Like,
even with auto tune, I can't sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
Yeah,
that's a new one.
That's interesting.
That's okay.
All right. So before we let you go, what is the biggest advice you would give to, one, a brand new agent, two, an experienced but struggling agent, and three, a top performer? 3 different advices, or maybe the same advice, but 3 different people looking for advice.
Okay. First-time agent, don't come up with the perfect plan. Just do things. Things will happen. You're going to realize what works for you, what doesn't work for you. The average agent doesn't have their first sale until like 6 months if they're doing it full time. But you're scared. We know you're scared. You got to face that fear of socializing or doing things or looking dumb. Like you won't be dumb forever if you keep learning and keep learning from the failures. And then the other one was an agent but struggling.
Yep. Experienced agent but struggling.
You need to adapt. You need to figure out what's wrong with whatever you're doing. If your main thing is cold calls, okay, maybe switch over, try out open houses. Or, hey, maybe I shouldn't be trying to get business from the millennials. Maybe I should be trying to get business from 40, 50-year-olds because they have savings, they're trying to upgrade or downsize. And just kind of looking at that and kind of sitting down and trying to figure out what's not working and then switching it up. And then the experienced agent that's doing well, correct?
Yep. Top producer.
Give more to others because they will give back. But from not just within a business aspect, but also a life aspect. You're going to create friends, things like that. So, for instance, Ken, you've had agents that have done well and haven't done well, and some of those previous agents have thrown you business because they like you, trust you, and you've been so willing to help. And for instance, my first transaction was with you because I helped.
Mm-hmm.
The creating value for others is a very valuable thing.
Yep. Lead with value. I say it all the time.
Yeah. So like my main thing was not bull crapping on open houses. Like if it's a crap open house, like, hey, it smells like dog piss, which have had, and you should probably clean the carpets more. We've already cleaned them twice. Okay, well, the stab marks in the fridge, put family photos over that, and that's a real situation. This seller had a kid with autism. Um, bless her heart, but he got mad one day, started attacking the fridge or punching it, and I said, "Hey, every person that's come in has pointed out the fridge." Um, so giving value to that agent was okay, cool. Let's cover it up with family pictures that look cute with the mom and the kids, and just that way they don't see it. Along with talking to them about, hey, I don't think it's this price. Like, don't shoot. And I even say, don't shoot me. Like, I'm just saying what other people are saying. I think it's this because X, Y, and Z. And I think that's why it's not moving. And that may be something they overlooked. I just put in an offer on a place and they're like, why did you give us a lower price? Because I saw the exact same house that you referenced as a comp, because it's the same exact price to down to like the hundreds. Um, and I was like, that one's more updated, but it also has owned solar. This one doesn't have solar and it's not updated. It doesn't make sense for this to be this price. And they're like, okay, see ya. They'll be back. But yeah, I think like for me, it's so rewarding trying to teach others and help others. I don't have all the answers, but I know what I'm good at, and I feel like I know how to coach. Particularly, I'm very after athletes because I can relate to that, playing college soccer, things like that. And there's a sense of drive and teamwork with some of those people. And it's weird because I'll have individual meetings and they're like, dude, I feel so motivated. I was like, all right, cool. Use that, go do things, like go now.
Yeah.
Because it's so, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I watch so much inspirational YouTube. Who knows? But they're like, yeah, I feel really motivated. Let's go do this. Like, okay, I'm going to go do this. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a good feeling to inspire other people, but also to give them my main thing is giving them the confidence in themselves. Because sometimes it's just you and you got to give yourself confidence, whether it's listening to dubstep or something before an open house to get you pumped up. Who knows? Some people, hey, famous scene from The Office, but when Jim and Dwight were about to go in and make a sale, they're rocking out in the car.
Yep.
Getting pumped up, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I forget you haven't watched that show.
I have seen Office Space, but no, I actually listen to Viking music, but when I'm trying to get pumped up. So Peyton Parrish is one of my favorites for that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Eddie,
I'll have to whatever gets you going.
Eddie, I'm curious if you weren't in real estate, what do you think you would be doing?
I still think it would be some sort of sales. I honestly don't know. Because I can remember being in high school. I never wanted to go to college. I went for a little bit, left because I just felt like it was wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a hard time learning stuff that doesn't help me.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, my main goal is being able to provide for my future kids, and kind of creating something where, hey, they don't have to worry when the average age to buy a house for some reason becomes 60. So like just worst case scenario, and wanting to be able to take friends or family, like, hey, we're going to this vacation. Oh, we can't afford it. Don't worry, I got you. Like, I just want to spend time with you because this time on this world is so short.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing everything in my power right now to make it so things become not only easier for me and Kat, but also too, the main thing was wanting to spend time with kids when we do have kids, being around. But I forgot the question. Go for it again.
No, what would you think you would be doing if you weren't in real estate?
Got it. Circling back.
Okay.
But like in high school, I can honestly say I don't know. I just realized, hey, I was social. I should be in some sort of sales. I think it would be in some sort of sales because I can remember telling my Spanish teacher, like, can you please just pass me? Because I was like, in my mind in high school, I was like, I'm going to be doing a physical labor job or something like that. I was like, I'm going to be in construction. I'm going to be, because I hate sitting at a desk. And honestly, being a realtor is like a nice medium. When I sit at a desk and write a contract, it's annoying. But for the most part, I'm driving to open houses, seeing really cool houses. I'm showing houses and seeing cool houses. But also too, I think that's cool when you do houses for like the really expensive ones is it's kind of motivating. I can't remember who it was, but they said you should fly first class at least once because it motivates you. When you can barely afford it or you can't afford it, but you somehow find a way, but it motivates you. And I think there's a value in that. But yeah, honestly, after I don't know what I would be doing. As long as it was able to help me have an easier life, whether it's investing or owning more rental properties or giving me the ability to get more rental properties, I feel like that. Kat, I'll give you the simple answer. Kat, my fiance, told me, you'll do good at whatever you do as long as it makes you money. Like your main reason is money because you want these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter what it is. If you wanted to be an engineer like me, you'd be reading a book to make lots of money
Mm-hmm.
or doing that. Um, or if you wanted to be the best yoga person in the world because it brought you millions of dollars, you would finally get on the yoga mat and stretch. Like as long as it made you money online or something. Like I don't know. But
For
yeah,
sure.
I have zero clue. As long as I could see, as long as it could bring me the future I want, I'll do it. Like
It makes sense.
as long as it's within my morals.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of things bringing the future I want, not within my morals.
Yeah, we're living in a weird age right now, and we don't need to promote them on this podcast.
No.
Nope. This is the wrong medium for that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, well, Eddie, I want to thank you very much for taking some time with us today. It was a good chat, and I can relate literally every answer you gave back to education, and I think that is profound and something that I wouldn't have been able to say 2 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Your drive for education is immense and is remarkable. So I'm impressed.
Yeah,
And not
as long as it has a value. Yeah.
Yeah, not just education for the sake of learning, but education that you can push forward to other people
And apply.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome.
Cool. Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, I love brainstorming with individuals.
Great.
And making me think about other things that I haven't thought about.
Wonderful.
With that, sir, I want to thank you for stopping by. Go forth and conquer.
Thank you so much for having me. I love learning with you guys.